Hey, everybody. Can you hear me? I just need to make sure my audio is okay. I think it is. Can you type a 1 and let me know if you can hear me okay? I don't want to start talking and nobody can hear what I'm saying. Okay, good. So I just had a tweet come across my phone from the El Paso County Sheriff. I guess it's the most recent update they've given since earlier today. It says our focus and goal is to find Gannon and bring him home safely. We continue to search specific areas based on tips and leads in this investigation. We have received 280 tips to date, and we continue to vet and follow up on each lead coming in. So it's pretty short and sweet, but it sounds like they are doing exhaustive searches. I know they've been out all day today searching for him. Let me check really quick just so I'm reading it right. I know a little earlier, a couple hours ago maybe, Colorado Parks and Wildlife announced that they were assisting in the search by using a piece of equipment to retrieve underwater evidence. The crews are searching or were searching a small pond near Colorado Springs, but the location is being kept public. They're not releasing that location. They have searchers, which are both law enforcement and civilian there, and they're saying that searchers on the ground are numbered in the hundreds right now. So it's good to see that now that the weather has broke a little bit. I think last night it was about 14 degrees out in Colorado Springs, and today it's about 40. So that difference in temperatures has allowed them to be able to really be on foot a little more than what they were the past couple days. Kristen and company, I'm not sure if they are searching all of the water and lakes right now. I don't think they are. Somebody did, one of my team members actually wanted me to let people know if you see something posted by Denver Post. I guess that is a form of a media outlet there, but they're not really credible. They sometimes post false information. And one of the things they posted earlier that was false was that they had divers in the water looking for Gannon, and that was not true. The guy who interviewed the stepmom posted a photo of the device thing being used to search the pond. Oh, okay. I've been kind of out of the loop, to be honest with you, the past couple hours. I kind of took a break from my phone and social media, and I haven't really looked at much. And hey, Sadie. Yeah, CBS Denver does seem pretty good. They do. I can't remember. The days are kind of blurring together. And I apologize if you hear my kids back in the background. They are currently battling it out over Madden. So I always have real life going on behind me. Anyways, I can't recall what day it was that this was said, and I know I said it here and it was inaccurate, so I do want to correct that now that the accurate facts have come out. I believe that we reported that the stepmom had previously been married to Landon's brother. That was taken from different sources because there were multiple who stated it, and that is not true. Landon actually clarified that herself last night, and I can actually read what she said. Um, Landon's exact statement was, "She was never married to anyone in my family. We played ball together for years." So that's how they met. That's how Albert came in contact with her. T and Landon were teammates on a softball team, I believe. I believe it was softball. And the rest is history. Also, in regards to, I don't know how many of you down there tonight in the chat that were here the other night when I read through T's South Carolina education license being suspended for 180 days because she took a job at one school district. She went to like the teacher in service days or whatever, and then she actually took another job at another school district, and she pretty much abandoned the one school district. She just dropped them. Well, somebody showed that to Landon as well, and Landon's exact words were, "T did this after my divorce and came to my school district to do this. To blame me for what? Question mark, question mark, question mark." So silly. And she ended it with, "T, go find G." So I think that's pretty bold. I mean, she basically called the stepmom out on social media and said, "Go find my son." It's interesting. Let me look at some comments here. No problem, Glowing Ember. Dare to be different. We have not figured that out yet. I know I got his obituary. We got his obituary earlier today. He actually died in Cincinnati. I don't even know if I don't think him and that's Harley's father. I think that's who you're talking about. I'm not sure if they were married at the time that he passed. I haven't looked that up yet. Or if they were ever married. Well, I know that they were married and that they got divorced. I'd have to look at the dates really quick, and I can do that. But he died in Cincinnati in 2014, and he lived in North Carolina. I have some speculation on what he died from, but it's pretty much irrelevant to this case at this point, I think. And he's deceased and doesn't really have anything to do with it. So yeah, Demita, I heard a couple different things, but when I did some digging earlier, and everything I saw was people saying, when people say on social media that somebody passed away, and then somebody else will comment and they'll say, "Oh my gosh, what happened?" And all of the responses back to the people questioning or message me. So usually that I don't even want to go there with what I think that means, because I don't want to judge or, put false information out. I don't know where Amy is 1 Hour Drive Floors. I think she might be with her family. Um, I can show you guys. I can show you the post. Well, I can show you. I cropped it. I will show it to you. She posted it. Kristen and Company. She posted it. Oh, let me find it. I found it this morning, and it had been posted 13 hours ago, so it was posted yesterday at some point. Yeah. Let me. Okay, so I found it at 1:52 p.m. and it had been posted 13 hours prior. So that would have been about 11:52 my time. So 10:52 last night, local time in Colorado where she's at. So it was just said last night. I'll pull up my photos and show you guys. Give me just 1 second. I can't watch comments when today has been pretty quiet when it comes to news for Gannon. But it's like I said, it's good to see them all out searching again. You know, it's good they had horses. I posted quite a few updates in our Facebook group. They have searchers on horses again today and just people everywhere. People everywhere. And of course, everybody, there was a press conference earlier that I'm sure everybody saw. They did say in that press conference that they didn't believe that the medication that Gannon was on was something that was medicine that was needed, like critical medicine. It's not medicine that he absolutely has to have to survive. So I guess that is good to know. Okay, and I can share it with you. Let me take the banner down so you can see it. That was literally her post 13 hours ago. That was in reference to the teaching certification documents and where it states in those documents. Tisha states in those documents that she was being bullied and harassed by the superintendent's niece, who is her husband's ex-wife. And this is Landon's response to that. I think that's a big deal for her to do that too, Kristen. Absolutely. It says a lot. Hey, Nikki, thank you. So sorry if you hear the background noise. Yeah, Irish, that's what I thought. It's pretty telling. I'm going to read through some of your comments and see. And of course, my dogs are going to act up again tonight. Oh my gosh, they're out of control. I'm going to have to start coming on later when everybody is asleep. I'm going to see what else, because I found something else today. Hold on. I don't think Amy is coming on. I don't know. Irish, I tried to text her. I don't know. She might be busy with her family. I'm sure she'll text me back or. That is the hope. That is the absolute hope. Mojo. And I actually want to talk about that because I think that I don't want people to misunderstand me or misunderstand the channel or anybody in the chat when we have theories because, we are allowed to speculate. We're all allowed to have our own opinions. And there's two things that we're facing here in this disappearance of Landon. There's the fact that we all need to have hope, and there's the fact that we all also need to be realistic. Being realistic doesn't take away from hope. I mean, I have a couple analogies I'm probably going to use, and I'm going to share a couple stories to speak about keeping hope in times when you think that things aren't going to be okay. Or when you know that the situation is grim or dire. And I think it's an unfair statement to say that being realistic takes away from hope. A completely unfair statement. You have to be aware, and I'm not preaching to anybody. I'm just saying, so let's be real. This little boy, Gannon, has been missing for 9 days. He's missing in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Last night when I looked at the weather, it was 14 degrees with a low of 11. It's freezing outside. He left his home with no coat. He left his home with no cell phone. He left his home with his stepmother, who then came back alone. So I don't think it's unfair to be realistic. And still have hope at the same time. And I just want to give you guys a couple analogies, and please, I don't want sympathy for any of this. I just want to be able to share with you my perspective. When I was 19 years old, I had my first son. I had an emergency C-section. Everything was fine. 9 days later, I was in the emergency room. I had 2 emergency surgeries in 7 hours, 3 blood transfusions. My kidneys were shutting down, and all we had was hope. I was a 19-year-old child who had just had a child herself, and that's all we had was hope. My situation for myself was grim, and we were realistic about that. I had 5 months of recovery time. I knew what the odds were. I knew what I was facing. Myself and my family were realistic about that, but we didn't give up hope. That's one example. 6 years ago, my stepfather went into the hospital with stomach pain. He was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. We held on to hope until his last breath 10 days later. We knew that his situation was dire. We had to be realistic about it. We couldn't bury our heads in the sand and pretend like an extreme situation didn't exist when it did. So I guess that's my point. And again, I'm not preaching to anybody. I just think that we can be realistic and we can have hope at the same time. You can't brush the facts of what's going on with Gannon underneath the rug. Not that anybody's doing that. I just think that it's just so important to keep our eyes open, our ears open, be aware of everything that is going on with Gannon, and still hold on to hope at the same time. It's like saying somebody with stage 4 cancer with chemotherapy doesn't have hope because they're realistic about their situation. And that's wrong, because every person I know that has ever fought for their life has had hope to the very end. But they've also been aware of what their situation is or what their reality could be. And I know that everybody in the chat wants Gannon's reality to be that he is brought home safe. I want that. I have cried for this little boy. I know that you guys have cried for this little boy. We want nothing more than for Gannon to be brought home safe. And we are all holding on to hope at the same time, because that's all there really is. Honestly, that's all we have is hope. Yes, Danette, as a parent, keeping your head in the clouds is really not helpful. Poor Landon yesterday on her interview said, she's scared. And I can't imagine. I cannot imagine her fear. I can't imagine. Most of us are parents. I have 2 children. And I don't ever want to know that fear. I don't want to walk in those shoes, and my heart is with her. BJ, did she? I think I saw that. Where she came, because last night I think most everybody saw where the media was reporting that they were outside the house reporting, and you saw these flashes inside the house, and you heard yelling, and then the reporter steps off to the side and said, "We'll update you when we let you know what's going on." And then about, I want to say 5 or 10 minutes later, El Paso County Sheriff came out with a statement and said, we just walked up to the garage because the garage door was open. So we wanted to let them know that their garage door was open, and we spooked them. So it was very compassionate of Landon to let people know what was going on with that. Absolutely, Kristen and company. Absolutely. I was actually talking about this with one of my team members today because it's a scary world out there. We all know this. It's absolutely frightening. And I think it gets worse every year, or as time goes on, it just keeps getting worse. The world I live in today and the world we live in today is not the same world we had when we were all children. We know that. And to look at your own kids and know what they're going to face in the future with the thing, there's drug epidemics, there's just terrible, terrible things out in the world that our kids have to face. And we all definitely, you have to be realistic about life. And you always keep that hope. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, I wasn't trying to rant or anything. I don't know. I'm a big fan of statistics and research, and I'm actually going to read you guys some stuff because it is actually statistically speaking, stranger abduction is not a common thing. People tend to think that stranger abduction is common because those are the abductions that we typically see in the headlines. But statistically speaking, that's not a common occurrence in the US. Actually, this comes from Reuters. The headline says kidnapped children make headlines, but abduction is actually rare in the US. On average, fewer than 350 people under the age of 21 have been abducted by strangers in the United States per year since 2010. So realistically, that is a really low number when you compare it to the population of the US. So, for example, cases like the case of Jamie Kloss, That's a rarity. That's not something that just happens. And kids don't just go disappearing. They just don't disappear. Like Landon said in her interview yesterday. They don't just disappear. And none of us know where Gannon is. I pray every single day, every chance I get, that when Tisha left that house with him, that she took him somewhere. Maybe she took him, it was suggested yesterday, maybe she took him to alternative healing because he was sick. Do I believe that? No. But am I going to pray for it? Yes, because it's a better outcome than him never coming home again. It's just the reality of this situation is heavy. It's a heavy reality. This article goes on to say that hundreds of thousands of juveniles are reported missing to the Federal Bureau of Investigation each year. The circumstances of the disappearances are only recorded about half the time, but in the cases that they are, only 0.1% are being reported as stranger abduction. The vast majority, typically more than 95%, run away. So we know that at first Gannon was listed as a runaway. Since then, I believe it was on the 30th that the sheriff's office changed that status and upgraded him to endangered and missing. There was a few different circumstances that played into that. And in the meantime, we have had surveillance footage being released. There has been statements made in the media that the surveillance footage was shown to the father of Gannon, Albert, and when he saw the footage, he broke down crying because it showed his wife and stepmother to Gannon leaving the house with Gannon and returning 4 hours later without him. That is a huge problem. Huge. Does that mean she's guilty of something? We don't know. No, we can't prove any guilt with that. But is that shady? Absolutely. That is a huge problem. Huge. They have had at least 2 vehicles seized by police. At least 2. They've had their house searched by crime units, I believe 5 times. There's all these surrounding factors that we're all aware of and that have been made public that don't make it look very favorable in Amy's here. Hey, Amy. When it comes to Tisha. It really doesn't. I actually wanted to touch on that. If Tisha was abusive towards Gannon, it is certainly plausible he would run away. Well, it is. It is. I think what is alarming to me, so law enforcement is saying Gannon is not a runaway. They're saying he didn't run away now. He doesn't have his phone. That's huge. He doesn't have a coat. And I think the reason that it was initially thought that he was a runaway is because there was a search made on his phone. I don't know the exact wording of it, but it was something about, can my parents track me on my phone if I run away? And the problem I have with that is that clearly his phone was left at home. Or maybe it was brought in from the truck. Maybe it was left in the truck and T brought it back in the house. I don't know. But the phone was in the possession of Tisha or in the house where Gannon lived. It doesn't take but 5 seconds to type that into a phone, and anybody can type it into a phone. So I don't necessarily believe that Gannon did that. Absolutely, Dee Dee. He is a missing person. He's considered missing and endangered. But what I wanted to talk about is that Landon spoke about how Gannon was into coding. First of all, that is a very, very intelligent child. Very intelligent at the age of 11, being into coding and understanding it. And that's a high sign of intelligence. When I think about that, and then I think about the random search on his phone, the kid is very intelligent. If he understands coding, why would he make that search on his phone? Because he would know that that would be found. Now, I understand he's a child. I understand he's a child. Children don't think like adults, obviously, but he's technology smart. He's technology smart, and me too, Maggie. I track my kids on their phones. If they leave, they have to have their phone. I check their locations. I should probably whisper that. I'm sure they're listening to me in the back of the house. Don't really want the 16-year-old to know that I know where he's at all times. Mojo, that's the hope. Absolutely. Absolutely. That is absolutely the hope that he's alive and he's out there. No, I think all of us have hope for that. We do. So just me, I read that the kids had actually went to stay with Albert because their mom was having some health issues and had been hospitalized and stuff like that. I don't know if that's fact. I really don't know if that's fact. It does look like, though, back in the summer, Gannon and his sister Lena were both in Colorado with their dad. But then again, at Christmas time, Landon has pictures of Gannon and Lena with her in South Carolina. So, yes, that's a good way of saying it, Amy. Gannon was aware of creating a digital footprint. I don't really know how to explain coding. I don't know if anybody wants to explain it down in the comments. Jason, I will go look for that right now. This was said last week. It was part of a timeline that was what was found on his phone, and that's why the cops thought he was a runaway at first. I don't believe he did either. Kristen and company said they recently took all the electronics from the home, so are probably using those to search where to look or just any tracks or clues. Absolutely. Absolutely. What did Tracy L say? See, I don't think he would search that either, Tracy. I think Amy and I spoke about that. And I was actually talking about it with all of Real Massacre Talks team members earlier. And yeah, I really don't think he would search it at all. I actually told a funny story about my 11-year-old. This was a couple years ago. He got mad at me, and I think he had a cell phone at the time. And the only reason that he had a cell phone at that age was because of them going to their dad's. I wanted to always be able to be in contact with them. Anyways, he didn't search anything on his phone. He looked at me pretty pissed off, stomped his feet, and told me he was running away to his fort in the backyard. So, not that that's Gannon's, temperament or how he acts at all. I was, just giving an example of how little boys act. I don't necessarily think they do much digging at 11 years old about running away. Yes, just his smile shows what a sweet boy he is. It is heartbreaking. Absolutely. I think so too, Tracy Walker. I tend to agree. I don't think he's the one who typed that in his phone. I don't. I don't believe he searched that. I'm with you, BJ. I think that was, I mean, we all know where I stand on this and what I think. Does that mean I'm right? Absolutely not. I'm speculating. But when you connect the dots of A, B, C, D, E, eventually you get the whole alphabet and it's going to come into the picture. And I don't think, I don't think that he typed that in his phone. Yeah, Amy, do you remember the exact wordings? That's a good point, Pixie Mermaid. It's very odd they took food out of the house because even if she poisoned it, I would think she wouldn't want to poison her own daughter. Especially, I would assume she wouldn't leave it there before reported missing. That's a great point. Um, Amy says that the exact search that Gannon did said, "Can my parents find me if my phone is off?" Oh, Jeanette, you got it too. So, Kristen and company, I haven't confirmed. We were talking about that earlier. We can't track anything down about the rental car, but this is what I can show you guys. Um, hold on one second. Let me stop sharing my screen here and then go into the Facebook group and show you, because we were able to pull up earlier. Part of my team, I think it was Christina, who pulled up the car records of the vehicles that they own. It's going to take me 1 second to get in there. Yes, Mojo. I still pray for Madeline McCann. Absolutely. That's a good point, Doodlebug. You think Gannon would have already known that about the phone being off? That's possible. Oh no, not coding. Not coding like the medicine. Code, yeah, Coding. Sorry. He was a preemie. He was born at just a little over a pound. I forget the exact. All right, let's see what we have going on in the Facebook group. I can show you guys the car information. If it loads. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Oh, look at that. Oh, this is new. I haven't seen this. Can you guys see that okay? Yeah, you can see it, I think. I'll read it to you just in case you can't. Oops. So this was tweeted by EPC Sheriff about an hour ago. It says, with the help of our partners at Parks and Wildlife, this is what they are using. We are using a submersible remotely operated vehicle with sonar to search undisclosed areas of water. We are not utilizing divers at this time. Find Gannon. This is what they're using right now to search. There's going to be a candlelight prayer, it looks like, at the neighborhood. It doesn't show me topics. Oh, here. Okay, let's look at their vehicles. So these are the 3 cars that are owned by the Stauch family. A 2019 Volkswagen Jetta SEL sedan 4-door, a 2019 Volkswagen, I don't know how you say that, is that a Tiguan? SE 4Motion, SEL 4Motion, utility 4x4 4-door, and a 2016 Nissan Frontier Crew Cab SSL SV Pro 4X 4x4 pickup 4-door. That is the red Ford, or the red truck that we saw. This is stills that I took from Harley's vlog of her first day of college. This shows the white Jetta. You can see right there. If you zoom in, you can see the Volkswagen symbol on the steering wheel. So Harley drives a 2019 Jetta. That's just showing you that it's white. This is Colorado Springs Crime Watch statement, where they said that one vehicle was towed to evidence impound from the Marshall's parking lot on the northeast side of Academy and Woodman just a few hours before the sheriff's press conference last Thursday, but it wasn't mentioned until the stepmom did a TV interview and alluded to it. Another vehicle has also been towed from the airport. The airport part kind of stumps me, guys. Okay, so Tisha used Harley's Facebook to post this on April 24th, 2019. I was skeptical about partying with my Maxima, but Tyler and Matt knew exactly what I wanted. The stars aligned, and the car I wanted pulls up on the truck. They went the extra mile to include some extras, great communication, and easy process. After finalizing signing was great, as the lady who did that was welcoming and explained everything, which left no questions. Now to leasing about my new to leasing about my transaction. Highly recommend Tisha. So that's her SUV that she got in 2019. That's the one listed on the vehicle registration for the family. This is the screenshot I had of, it's kind of hard to see. I can't, it doesn't let me zoom in on Facebook, but it's kind of hard to see here, but that is actually the red Ford pickup truck sitting in the driveway on the 30th. And then I thought, actually, no, it's probably in comments. Amanda actually brought this up. You can see her SUV right there in the driveway when she's backing the truck up. When she returned on Monday, was that the 28th? I can't remember. All the days are running together, guys. The 27th, I'm sorry. Actually, I should probably look just to be sure. Yeah, the 27th. This is when Tisha was backing into the driveway. And you can see her SUV there. I'm going to drop a link for Amy to come on, I think. Everybody was asking about you, Amy. They wanted to know where you were. Hey, everybody that's just joining. That's a good point, Maggie. Maybe that is where the talk of the rental came in, because her SUV is a lease. That is a great point, actually. Oh my gosh, do you guys hear that? Kids. Oh, I didn't notice that, Gingy. We can watch the surveillance again. When she left. Oops, where did it go? You noticed that when Tisha left, the tailgate was up, and when she returned, it was down. Wow, that's a good good eye. I'm gonna bring Amy on. Amy is here, guys. Hey. Can you hear me? I don't think she can hear me. All right, Amy. I'm gonna take you out and drop you a new link. I don't know why it's doing that. She'll be here. There she is.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear? Yes, I can.
Yay! Hi, everybody.
Thank you, Summer. Hey, Amy, how are you tonight?
I am good. I've been rushing around all night, and I'm not gonna lie, I slept like 4 hours last night, and I laid
Me
down
too.
for like 15 minutes, which I never get. My other half is just like, you look like you're about to fall over, and the next thing I know, it was 7 o'clock. So,
Aw.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get much sleep either last night. Both of the boys are sick, and
Ugh.
then um they had a snow day today and I work from home. So,
Oh, well, that would make life complicated, I would
it's been
say.
pleasant to say the least. It's been a pleasant day here at
Ay,
my
ay.
humble home.
Oh,
Um,
gosh.
Yay, Amy's here.
Hi, everybody.
What if she is hiding him out somewhere? She said factly, Gannon is alive. When he comes home, he can say where he has been, or is she deflecting? That's a great question. That's a great question.
Well, that's certainly a possibility. Danielle, I don't know everything you've talked about this evening. I know that I watched I think it was Fox 31 News covered it wasn't a press conference, it was just like a little update today.
Mhm.
But they went out to that reservoir today, Johnson Reservoir, and let's see with my notes, like 4 horses, 2 search and rescue dogs, some sort of razor utility vehicle that they have that's like new to them, like new to their department. So they wanted to do a second search with that.
Right.
And she also mentioned that when they refer to parallel investigations, they have a whole FBI unit in an office set up somewhere, divided into different teams, all covering different aspects of this. So I really do think they are approaching this as he is alive. There's a potential that he's alive, and that that feels hopeful,
It
very
does.
hopeful.
It does. Yeah. Absolutely, it's hopeful. We've had this conversation at length that no matter what, the hope remains. It does.
Yes.
No matter, I mean, I think that's kind of what you probably didn't hear me talk about was, I just explained how we have to be realistic about the situation at the same time, but that doesn't pull away from us having hope.
No, not
And
at
I
all.
just gave a couple examples.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but
I mean, even the fact that she said, no matter what the weather is, we won't stop looking. We will just accommodate. I mean, she went down to, we'll just wear more clothes. We'll serve hotter food. We
oh,
will.
the representative from
Yes.
yeah. Yeah.
Yes. They are very, very determined. And yeah, you're right. There's a lot of things that might make you think negatively, but it doesn't mean that. And there's a lot of things that may look one person not look in the best light, but that doesn't mean that we're not hopeful at all.
Right. Right, absolutely. Um, who was it? Was it you? I don't know who was talking about the rental car. I'm sorry. I totally saw your comments. Oh, it was BJ. The airport vehicle towed could have been the rental one, possibly. I was actually discussing that earlier too, and one of the theories is that, and it's purely theory. It does not mean it's true. But one of the theories is that a rental car is involved in order to deflect from traffic cams
Yes.
so that the red truck wouldn't be seen on traffic cams. And it makes sense because rental cars are often returned to airports.
Yes.
So,
the rental car doesn't sound good. Nothing sounds good. It's just.
oh, thank you, Mignon. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of very alarming things here. Very alarming. But at the same time, I don't know. It's just I don't want to compare it to this case. I don't, but it's like the closest one I can come up with. The Watts case. Shanann was thought to be missing, but she was never seen leaving her home. She was only seen entering it.
Right.
And here we have Gannon leaving in a vehicle with his stepmother, and 4 hours later, she comes back without him. It's so, so concerning.
It definitely throws up some red flags, yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping for even the craziest scenario. Maybe she's hiding him out somewhere. Maybe she hasn't done anything wrong. Maybe she took him, and these don't even make sense when I say them. They don't even make sense to me that somebody would, hide a child or drop him off somewhere. But that's what I'm hoping for.
Right.
Rentals generally have hidden GPS in their cars. It doesn't. Oh, Jesse's reading The Gift of Fear. It doesn't lose its asset. That's a good point, Maggie. Excellent point. It is baffling, Irish. It's completely baffling. I just don't understand how, unless the footage that's been released is deceiving, unless it was released on purpose as a tactic
And
to be
edited.
right and edited to be deceiving. That is possible.
It's always possible.
Because law enforcement use many tactics especially when it comes to finding kids. The FBI is involved here. I can assure you, if they did not want that video out, it would have never made it to the public.
No.
Never.
And multiple units of the FBI
Right.
are
Right.
involved. So, yeah.
Yeah.
See, Dee Dee Munster, that's where I get stuck. I can accept that the video of the truck is possibly edited, that it was leaked on purpose, it was a tactic, all that stuff. Where I always stop. I mean, like every time something new comes up, there's a different stopping point because it changes the narrative, right? If we find out something new, but as of today, I always stop at that he went to go play at a friend's house at 4:15.
Yes.
I
Yep.
always stop there.
That is because she returned at 2:15 without him.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge problem. Huge problem.
Yes, Kristen and company. I did see the list today. Between that, when I was listening to that, not a press conference, but the update from the spokesperson, um, I was very surprised at all the different agencies that are involved: federal agencies, local agencies, state agencies, the Army National Guard, volunteer team, their horse patrolmen, Texas EquiSearch. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to their website. We can pull it up and look because I think they have them all listed.
They do, and it's like a graduation ceremony.
Has it grown since the last time earlier this week?
I don't want to say it's necessarily grown. I think they've pulled in from some surrounding counties. Let me see. I think Douglas and Fremont County, it said, had added extra resources. They have
Okay.
extra resources for search and rescue equipment that they
Okay.
didn't have before. It's allowing them to search in these weather conditions. And I believe that they've had FBI since he was missing and endangered, but now they have a lot of FBI separated into different groups working on different aspects.
Right. Right. Did you see did you see what Landon posted? Did you see that before you came on or no?
No, I literally just got on, so my
Okay.
apologies.
No, 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 you're fine. I'll share it again before I share the El Paso website. Um, let me
While you're looking, I see Summer saying, Dee Dee, who would you cover for the most, stepchild or blood child? That's an
um,
interesting question. When I was listening to that update, I was looking at, it was one of those things that was live on Facebook. And so there was a lot of comments. And not shockingly, a lot of people were saying some pretty derogatory things about the stepmother. Landon, she did this after my divorce and came to my school district to do this, to blame me for what? So silly. Yes, I saw that early. Yes, I saw that earlier today.
okay.
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
she has gone out of her way to antagonize Landon, but make it
Yes,
look like Landon's antagonizing her.
absolutely. She has.
Yes.
There's a lot of animosity there, and it's very
Yes.
strange to me because Tisha and Albert are the ones that had the affair. So Tisha
Yes.
shouldn't have any animosity towards Landon. Landon should
No.
be the one that has the animosity.
No.
I mean, when you're
I.
talking, if you're being real, if you're in a marriage and your husband cheats on you, you're going to have animosity towards the woman he cheated on you with. Landon should be the one that is vicious. And it's the other way
Yes.
around, which is very strange to me. As a woman,
Yes.
that is strange to me.
It's very strange. It's almost if T thinks that Landon should have just stepped aside and T moved up and T's queen bee. And that's very, very strange.
Yes.
So there was
What do
this
you
afternoon.
mean? Is that animosity uncommon, though, Will? I don't know what you mean by that.
Yeah, Kristen, cheaters suck. But
I
I mean,
think it's uncommon for the woman who was the other woman who got the husband. I mean, Albert ended up with Tisha. There was an affair that ruined Landon and Albert's marriage. Albert then ended up with Tisha, who was his mistress. So I personally think it's uncommon that Tisha would have animosity towards Landon. It should be the other way
yeah,
around.
Landon didn't. I mean, not Landon. Tisha didn't just try to take Landon's husband. She tried to take her career in a way by creating all of that through the school system and through her job. I mean, it's
Right.
she directly inserted herself there, and it's so intentional to do something like that. And you would think she'd just kind of be laying low, but not at all.
That's interesting, Will. When people have a possessive nature, they tend to direct the animosity to the other man, woman. Um, true, but Tisha got the man. She got
She
what
got,
she wanted. She got her.
yeah. And then she wanted Landon out of the school system.
Right, right.
Yeah. We were talking this afternoon in the little chat about a lot of things about teacher. This is one of the things that came up. The other thing is it's been pointed out often
Okay,
that
hold on one second. I got you, Will, because
sure.
I've actually went through this personally with my ex-husband and his ex, she had a lot of animosity towards me. She was very jealous of me. Very, very jealous. And there was no reason for it, you know. We had to communicate for our kids. We had 2 kids together, but it might not be uncommon, but I think it's a little extreme that Tisha went out of her way to go work at the school district that Landon worked at. That's just weird.
And then file a harassment complaint.
And then say harassment and all of that. Say that she was being harassed and bullied by Landon, and that's why she quit. When in all reality, that's not the truth, because Tisha took 2 teaching contracts at the same time with 2 school districts. And the school district that she dropped was the school district that Landon worked at, and the one where she made the accusations against Landon. So it seems a little premeditated to me. Do you think that, Amy? Doesn't that seem, I mean,
it does. And I'm trying to consider the statement, and I have to say, in a way, I do agree with what Will is saying in a little bit of way. I do believe Tisha went out of her way. I believe that she was like, I've got your husband, and now I want you completely out of the picture, and I'm going to destroy you because it's going to make me feel better and more powerful. I also am going to take the perspective of in my situation, I didn't have an affair, but I'm with somebody that has children with somebody else. And I knew coming into the picture, as weird as this sounds, that he was always going to have a very strong bond with his ex-wife because they had children together. And I knew that up front, and I had to take that into consideration when I entered the relationship. So I question Tisha's, again, we come back to maturity.
Yes, it does come back to a maturity thing, because absolutely. I mean, I've dated men who had children. I've been in relationships or a relationship with somebody who had children with somebody else, and that's absolutely a maturity thing. I mean, you have to be adults, because at the end of the day, the only thing that matters at the end of the day as parents is our children. And if you bring somebody in your life who is going to be jealous of your children's other parent, that is absolutely going to create problems forever in your relationship.
Yes, you have to make sure that, I mean, I don't know another way to put it, but in my life, it's like order of operations. And it sounds kind of sad. I don't mean it to sound this way, but I knew coming into this that it was probably Chris and his kids was bond number 1. The other unbreakable bond was him and his ex-wife, because the children are young, and I'm number 3.
Right.
That doesn't mean he doesn't love me. It just means that those are super strong bonds, and you have to be a very mature person to handle that and recognize it and not turn it into something that it isn't. I think that's where maybe T has issues.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree, Kristen. You have to show children how adults behave with integrity and maturity. It's about being a grown-up. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And Doodlebug says, we know she doesn't put her children first after she threw her daughter on camera. I knew that. You know, we talked a little bit about that today, about how if I were asked to describe one of my stepchildren in 3 sentences, what I would say, and as opposed to what Tisha said on camera. And, you know, I told Danielle today, I would say, like, you know, they like to play Roblox. They love their dog. Their favorite food is this. You know, in the car, he always puts his seatbelt on wrong. And then, like, my kid puts his seatbelt on and then tries to wrangle in it. It's weird. It drives me crazy, but it's just his thing. And she talks about how Landon was really good at feeding the dogs. They have cute dogs. He feeds them. And sometimes he doesn't do it. And, you know, that's okay. I have to tell him twice. She didn't even give him the satisfaction of doing. He's missing. It's weird, and so the daughter, she kind of acts the same way with the daughter. Everything is about how every relationship in Tisha's life, when she talks, seems to be how they serve her, not what they mean to her, how they serve
Hold
her.
on one second.
Sure.
Maggie, I don't know if you just came in, but I just want to correct you. Part of this, I mean, this partly my fault because I did share this information a couple days ago. This was widely reported on, I mean, multiple platforms. And I'm not just talking social media, that they were sister-in-laws, and that is not a fact. They were not sister-in-laws. Landon actually clarified that last night in a post and said that Tisha was never married to anybody in her family. They knew each other because they played ball together. So Tisha and Landon were teammates on a ball team together. I just want to clarify that so everybody knows what the facts are, because I did state it incorrectly a couple days ago. Not on purpose, not intentionally, not to mislead anybody, because that was widely reported everywhere. Sorry, Amy, I just had to.
No, that's okay. I'm glad you clarified that, because when that came out, that was kind of a truth bomb.
Right.
That was a big factor, and it was everywhere, and it's all you can do
Yeah,
is clarify it now. I was saying
absolutely.
the same thing. So
I'm sorry. I don't know if I totally
no, no, no,
stole you
no,
away
no,
from your train of thought, but
not at all.
I
Not at
agree
all.
with you with what Tisha said in her interview. A lot of us have analyzed what she has said, but I think it's also important to look at what she didn't say. Um,
Yeah.
like you were saying, the things how you would describe one of your stepchildren. Um, and Tisha, just her statement is he was helpful around the house. He would do this when he was asked. I don't remember her specific statement, but
I
she
think
didn't, in comparison to Landon's statement, where she says, my child loves this. He loves Sonic. He loves coding. He loves telling me corny jokes every single day. And Tisha's statement was very much all about what Gannon would do around the house and how he was helpful. She was
right,
very clear about being in the past tense about that.
right. Kristen's mentioning that when a step parent talks badly about a biological parent to the children, or a biological parent talks badly about the step parent to the children, that can be considered a form of abuse. And that is true. Abuse is not, it's not too harsh of a statement, because that's a very um, it's not only confusing for the children, but it creates an environment for them where they never feel safe, and it creates patterns in their life where they they can begin lying to
Mhm.
please. um, there's a word for it. I don't want to say it because I don't really want to get slammed, but
That's
it's a form
fine.
of it can be a form of psychological abuse, and courts do intervene in that.
Actually, yes. I don't like to put a lot of my personal life out there, but I will share this. My children have been through that with the woman that their father was with. And it upset my children because they knew and they know that I'm a good mom. I have always been their primary caregiver. I'm always the one that's there. Um, I have 100% been a mom before everything else in my life. And because of this person's just pure jealousy of me, she would say things to my children, and my children would come back and tell me. And we went to court over this, and there were court orders put in place because it is a form of abuse. It is.
Yeah,
It absolutely is a form of abuse, and it is vile, absolutely disgusting.
it
So,
is. And
Steve,
their little brains are developing too, and so like they, like any form of abuse, they have the potential, if it's not addressed, they have a potential of repeating the pattern.
yes, yep, and Danette, you're right. Lawyers do take that very seriously, and the courts actually take that very seriously. I mean, I've personally been there. I've
I
personally been there, and
I have too.
my
So
my children didn't think any less of me. Unfortunately, they did think less of their father because he allowed it. And it's very sad. It's very sad because it causes an alienation between the children and the parent who allows it, if that makes
yes.
sense.
It also creates lifelong trust issues
It
because,
does.
you know, they love their mom so much, and somebody's saying, "Well, your mom doesn't really love you. This is what your mom does. These are things." It's sick, and it's not. I don't know. It is a form of psychological abuse, and it's terrible. And their issues. Parents need to keep their adult issues to themselves and not involve the children like that. That's the bottom line. That's just it. You know.
Aw, thank you, Carla. Yes, I am a football mom through and through. I think Will and Irish and Mignon and Amy could probably all attest to that because they're on my Facebook. So from August till November, that is what we do. I am at football 6 days a week. 6 days a week with two kids. But
Doodlebug is actually, I mean, you wrote gaslighting children is absolutely effed up. The weird thing is they're not really gaslighting the children. They use the children to gaslight the other adults.
yes.
And so
Yes.
it becomes this continuing cycle. And unless somebody can rise above it or learn how to deal with that other person in a healthy way, it becomes a very toxic situation.
Yes, Danette. Kids do hate that feeling. They do. And when I was a child, um, I guess this is gonna bring me back to hope again. So I like to give people an idea of who I am and where I come from. I grew up with a father who was an addict and an alcoholic, and he would say things to me like, "Your mom's putting shit in your head." And I would say to him, "No, Dad, I see it and hear it with my own eyes." And we had a strained relationship for a good part of my life because of addiction, because he battled that, and it's a very sad thing. Um, and bringing that back to hope as I got older in my life, I had hope until my dad's very last breath that he would get clean and sober, even though I knew the reality of it. So it's just it's just a terrible thing for kids to go through. It is.
It is.
It's a terrible thing for kids to go through, and
It creates anxiety in them.
it
It
does.
creates trust issues. Everything that, all the things as a parent or a caregiver you're supposed to supply to your children. Like I said, trust, like you can come to me with anything. Um, this is your safe place. This is your home. When, when parents do things like that, you take away all of those things that are part of nurturing your children and bringing them up in a healthy environment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, I can personally say, um, my father's actions definitely affected me into adulthood. And it probably took me up until the last 5 years to be aware of that because it's
Mm-hmm.
not something you're really aware of until you truly start to, I don't want to say mature, but your brain, because they say your brain changes every 5 years, your thought process changes every 5 years. So probably the last 5 years is where I became self-aware of, okay, that's why I've repeated some of those patterns. That's why,
Yes.
I put up with shit that I should have never put up with.
Well, it was your norm too, so you didn't know any different.
Right.
You have to be
Right.
kind to yourself in that because, sometimes you come out of your little world or your little bio bubble where you grew up, and then you realize, wait, that's not how everybody lived. Oh my
Right.
gosh. And then you
Absolutely.
have to deal and reconcile all those emotions and then make new boundaries for yourself.
Right. Right. I agree with you, Kristen. Here's to all the parents busting their butts to raise kids with integrity, empath, honesty, compassion, and a healthy environment. It's not easy and we all have scars. Amen, sister. Amen. Um, it's very sad to me to know that Gannon has the reality of a stepmom who would sink so low to lash out publicly at his mother. If she did that
Yes.
publicly, I can only imagine what she did in private.
Yeah, yes, that was the point I was trying to make the other day. When she was in front of those cameras, we have to assume because she was trying to create herself being this good person and oh my gosh, I'm being attacked, that she thought she was on her best behavior. If that's her best behavior, what is she like behind closed doors? What is she like? This is all speculation, but I wonder what she's like when Gannon's dad isn't around.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, if you're going to go public with an interview in front of the nation and say, I raised these kids the last 2 years because their mom didn't want them. I can assure you, I am almost 100% positive she said things that were a million times worse behind closed doors. And she probably said them in front of the children. These are patterns that can't be ignored. When somebody shows you who they are on camera, you have to believe that.
Yes.
She showed us who she was.
Yes. She didn't even have to show us her face.
Right. I agree with you, Caleb. I agree with you. I have a hard time with that. The dad chose this type of stepmom to bring into his home with his children. She could have very well played it off. I don't know her personality when it comes to be a relationship and how she works when it comes to men, but she could be a manipulator.
She could, and it could have been, oh, I love your children and spoiled them the first year, the little honeymoon phase, and then you're in it. Then you're in
Right.
it real life. Um, yeah.
Sorry, Will, I have to disagree. If somebody's going to say that on public in front of camera, there's zero reason, zero, to slander the mother of a missing and endangered child on public to the media and to the world. There's no reason for that. You're supposed to be united for those children. The only reason for her to say shit like that to the public is because of her own hatred for Landon. There's no reason for it. That served zero purpose. She wanted to paint Landon in a bad light. For what? What did that get her?
Demita Heidelberg says, like her daughter said in the interview, "What do you want me to say?" Yeah, that was pretty telling. If you really look at it, I mean, some people would look at it in the surface and be like, "Well, that's what kids say." But if you have a parent that's controlling and you have to please them in order to keep the peace, then yes, you are going to make sure you say the right thing to please mom.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Aussie gal. Hey. What does Shane have to do with this? Shane has nothing to do with this. I know why Shane giggled on camera, and I'll never say why. I'll never say why. Shane's innocent. Shane was never seen getting into a vehicle with his child and coming back 4 hours later without his child. You can't compare these two cases. They're completely different.
Hi, Sanderella. Thanks for joining us.
And Shane was
That's right.
Shane was persecuted. He was persecuted. Absolutely he was.
Caleb Mandrake, yes, but that's easier said than done because there's a lot that goes on with that. And there's sex and lust and everything else that gets mixed into that little stage.
I'm trying to find
Glowing Ember says, even now, Shane doesn't come out and slam Sicko Megan.
he doesn't.
He
He,
doesn't.
he doesn't even come out and slam the woman that slandered him all over the internet.
No.
So that speaks a lot about his character. And Shane never when Shane did his interview, he didn't put down any other person. He did not try to throw any other person under the bus in his interview. He talked about Heidi, he talked about Margot. He never said anything terrible about another person.
No. No. Even in his interview, he said, I can't imagine everybody loved Heidi. And then afterwards, he said, I can't even imagine, this isn't the Megan I knew. When I look at her, that's not what she looked like. Her actions don't speak to how she was. So, yeah. Summer, you're friends with Shane. Wow.
Oh boy. Amy, can you talk for a minute? I need to step away for like
Of course. Of
3
course.
minutes. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Michelle Barrow says, I think that they had an accident in the park. A lot of people speculated that at first, but the truth be told, he's on video, after that. So, it at least didn't happen that Sunday. Let me scroll back because it's going fast. Kristen and Company. We have plenty of facts that Tisha has given us to show her behavior is deceitful and she has betrayed her husband, Gannon, and law enforcement during the most serious situations. Yes, and I read your comment before too. If you're looking for a missing child, you give all the information you have. If you're a good person, whether it makes you look good or bad, because the ultimate goal is to find that child. You deal with everything else afterwards. Yes, Michelle, I get you. Not that hike. I understand now. I'm sorry about that. Facts we have about T. Slander the mother, coaching her daughter, lying about timeline. I will eat crow if we all are wrong. I'll eat crow too. There's a lot of things pointing in a very negative light, and Tisha's standing right there. Tracy L, thank you. I
She
can't talk.
left she left she left the home with that child and didn't come back with him.
Yeah,
And he's missing.
right.
She returned to that house at 2:15 p.m. without Gannon. And at 3:15 p.m., supposedly Gannon left to go to a friend's house while she was in the basement on her treadmill with earbuds in.
Yes.
Except Gannon didn't come back to that house with her.
Yeah.
So
And
none of us are
Danette's
persecuting her based on just an interview.
no. And Danette's right. I read your entire comment, Danette. I'm just going to here, I'll just read it real quick so that of course I lost it now and I'm sorry. The stepmom, I'm correcting myself, was the only one in charge of the minors at the time. She is responsible. Okay, she is responsible for those minors. Yeah, she was the only person there. The father was out of town. The mother was back in North Carolina, where she lives. And yes, she was responsible for those children, and they disappeared under her, or he, Gannon, Gannon has a name, Gannon disappeared under her care. And there's at least one piece of information that we know that's untrue, and it's that he went and played, or at least we know at this point that he went and played with somebody at 4:15, because yes, she left in a truck and came back, and he wasn't with her anymore, and nobody saw him again, and she didn't report him missing. She didn't even report him as a runaway. Kristen and company, think about this. If your partner or spouse lied to you about when your child went missing, would you ever forgive them and accept that level of betrayal? I wouldn't. When trust is needed most, she lied. I agree with you 100%.
Wait a second. Will, how do you know there's no criminal investigation in place? This isn't the only avenue that's being explored. I've suggested multiple things that could have happened. I don't know why. I don't know why you're skating around the fact, Will, that she left the home with Gannon and came back without him. What other avenue should we explore? Where is he? Where did she take him in that 4 hours, and why did she not come back to her home with that child? I've suggested maybe she dropped him off somewhere. I don't know. I hope she did. I hope she dropped him off. I don't know. Where could she have dropped him off at? Where would she do it? Where would she go with this kid in that 4 hours? And not come back with him.
And then lie.
No, I'm not talking as though I know that there's a criminal investigation. You just said that there's not, and you don't know that there's not one. I'm talking about facts that are shown by the media, by news agencies, the timeline. It's not fair for you to tell me that I do know that there's one, because I never said that there was a criminal investigation against her. And at the same time, it's not fair for you to say that there's not one, because you don't know that either. I have to step away for a couple minutes.
Sure, I gotcha. All right. Have the police given all the evidence to the public? That's Cassie. No, they haven't. And they haven't even confirmed a lot of what they had to protect, or what they may or may not have to protect the integrity of the investigation. Come on. Okay, let's see. Glowing Ember says, come on. The glare. Harley was removed from T and put in protective custody. Do you think they believe she's innocent? I don't have a response to that. I have my own kind of insights on that, but I'm not even 100% sure that she's in protective custody. I've heard that. I tend to believe it, but I don't know that that's a fact. Wicked Witch. In this day and age, I'm sure there's a ton of surveillance footage that would add more pieces to the story. I bet that the police have so much we don't know about. Wicked Witch, I 100% agree with you. They're not giving us everything. They're giving us bits and pieces, and they are trying to protect anything that they get so that they that it doesn't look like a slanted investigation from their perspective. And if they have to go to court and prosecute somebody that, you know, they weren't, let's be honest, most of the public, this is what I've seen today. When I watched the news conference, every comment basically was pointing the finger at Tisha. It's a common opinion. And the police don't want to be part of that because they can't. If they go to prosecute Tisha or anybody else, they don't want to be part of a campaign against her. Okay, Kristen says, why would you accept this level of deceit with a missing child? I understand playing devil's advocate, but let's put pieces together. T is culpable. It doesn't look good for her, and we are speculating. So,
Well,
I think
there's
I
not a problem being objective here. I think maybe it's the approach. I'm um the first person that is looked at in a missing child case is the last person that they were with, and that is a fact.
yes. And statistically speaking, it's usually a family member.
Yeah, I spoke on that earlier that
Okay, I'm sorry. I heard something break in the other room. Can I get off and call you back? I'm so sorry. I
yes,
don't know
of
what.
course. Of
Yes.
course.
I'm so sorry. It's real life, but I just heard something shatter all over the floor, and it would take two of us to wrangle that. So I'll
Okay,
be.
okay.
I'll, okay, I'm so sorry. I'll be
Yep.
right back.
Hold on one second, guys. Just one second. Sorry for the delay. So sorry for the delay. Okay, back to business. Yeah, Amy, Ashley, I think that's why everybody is having a problem giving her the benefit of doubt, because if she drove off with him, she came back without him, then claimed Gannon was there in the afternoon and he went to a friend's house, told him to be back by six. I'm sorry. What's the theory on how she could possibly be your message cut off? I don't know what you're trying to say at the end, but I guess what would the theory be then? If she drove off with him, came back without him, and then claimed he was there in the afternoon when she clearly came back without him. She said he went to a friend's house, but he did not come back to the house. So what would the theories be? What are the theories? Trying to catch up on my phone here. Don't leave, Glowing Ember. I love having you here. She was the last one to leave with him since the beginning. She could have said, I dropped him off here, but she lied about where he is. I think that's the problem that we all have. Nobody wants to convict this woman. Nobody wants nobody wants her to be innocent, guilty of bringing harm to this child. We would be horrible human beings if we wanted that for Gannon. We just cannot dispute the facts. Hold on. Yes, we all want that baby home, safe and sound. Absolutely. There has to be more video than they can check her GPS on her phone or more in the truck. I actually had some other things I wanted to discuss. Things just got a little crazy for a second. Let's see if I can pull this up. You guys, I have so much stuff saved in my phone. It's absolutely ridiculous. I'm breathing. Let me find on here. So this was interesting that I found. It is from a book called Investigating Missing Children Cases, a guide for first responders. And it states in here that research shows that on average, it takes a parent 2 hours to contact law enforcement to report their child missing. During this 2-hour delay, what is that parent doing about their missing child? Are they waiting for the child's return, not fearing that any foul play is involved? Are they searching for their missing child and making phone calls? Have they called family members, relatives, or friends to help find that missing child? Probably all of these are possible, but it is likely that volunteers are already involved before first responder investigators get the call or arrive at the scene. I would like to know, and I think this is important that we know, why Albert contacted a neighbor about Gannon. Okay, Amy, I'll drop you another link. Well, I would really, really like to know why Albert contacted the neighbor about Gannon and how that all happened. Because from my take on it, I'm not sure that it was Tisha who called in the missing persons report. I don't know that it wasn't. Does anybody know that information. I'm sure I've read it. I've read so much that sometimes I tend to forget what I've learned. So let me drop a link. Let me drop a link for Amy really quick. Okay, Tammy, it was the neighbor who called police. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Hey, Dawn. Hi, Marcia. We're just waiting for Amy to real join. Oh my gosh. Join again.
Hello, hello.
Hey.
Sorry about that. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're all good. You're all good.
Kristen and company, she said, why did Landon's dad have to call Landon's dad, Gannon's father have to call the neighbor who actually called in the report? I think it's because Tisha was being very evasive when he was asking about his son, and he wasn't comfortable with her answers. Or lack of answers. Maybe she wasn't answering her phone. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Summer.
Aw, thank you, Summer. You're so sweet.
Kristen, this
That's
case is heavy. It is. It's just Marcia White Sharkey. I can't get past Gannon not being with her when she came home. I can't either. And the lie that followed.
neither can I. And I don't understand why. I don't know how to word this. If that tape was altered, okay, say that tape was altered. What is the motive there? What would be the motive to altering that tape before releasing it? And
Well, I mean, I have a basic kind of analogy for that, but I'm gonna say it's very basic. Sometimes when I know one of the children isn't being completely forthright with me, I will tell them some of the things that I know so that they will honor themselves and tell me the truth. Because they
right.
know I don't I let them know I have some information, but I don't let them know that I have all of it, and I let them kind of fill in the blanks. Is it possible this is a psychological tactic with Tisha? Or let's put it out there, or
Okay.
with somebody else.
Right, right. Okay, with somebody else. Why would they want to paint Tisha in such a horrible light by altering that tape? That's what I can't understand.
Maybe there's somebody else involved and that puts the pressure on them. What will Tisha say? All speculation.
Yeah, altered by the media who released it, or I don't believe that the full video has been shown. I don't believe that, and I've seen many other people who believe the same thing, that there's more to the video than what we're not seeing. There's also allegedly a video from the night prior with Tisha loading stuff into the bed of the truck. And I'm saying allegedly because I don't know that to be fact.
Right.
But I just don't understand what the motive would be. If, say, this video was altered, okay? Say it was altered. Let's just go down that route.
Okay. I'm with you.
Video was altered and Gannon did come home with her. Now, what is the purpose? What would be the purpose of altering that video to make it look like she left for 4 hours and didn't come back with Gannon?
Okay. All speculation, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody close to Tisha did something and they're going to feel bad that Tisha's being thrown under the bus and they're going to come forward with what they did or what they know.
Okay. So, in the same respect, the media is willing to take that hit as being deceiving to the public. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Because that's a huge hit
It is a
against the
huge hit.
media. That
But
makes them look very uncredible.
it does. And I have friends in the media. I love the media. I depend on the media. But I will say this: I always take them with a grain of salt because ultimately they're a money-making business. They're there for. They're not just there for what you see on the TV anymore. They're there for clicks online and subscribers. And I even see it with weather when they over dramatize weather, like especially here in Florida. Like, oh,
Right.
there's gonna be a hurricane. Oh, like and they create this mass panic in the grocery stores and stuff like that. This is different because it's a missing child, but sometimes I think they have a decision to make very quickly about whether they're going to run something or not because they want to be the first to get it out there, and I always take that into consideration.
Hold on one second. What's this say? BJ, trying to get your comment to pop up there.
Are you going to bed? Yeah.
Aw.
Oh, it's beautiful.
The exact same one that I found.
It's
Aw.
gorgeous. I love you.
Love you too.
Good night, babe. By the way, that was on YouTube. Love you.
It's true. I love her.
Thank
Aw.
you.
Aw. Okay.
So lucky.
BJ said, I think on the phone when he talked to Tisha, something wasn't adding up to him, or he could tell something was fishy with her. So he called the neighbor. That's just my scenario.
I agree.
Hmm.
So the other night there were people in the neighborhood on the neighborhood app, and they were talking about how they were comparing. We talked about this the other night a little bit. They were comparing Tisha's evasiveness about Gavin to Casey Anthony's
Gannon.
Gannon, yes, to Casey Anthony's evasiveness about Kaylee. So it led me to believe, I was putting dots together, that Dad kept asking about Gannon, and either stepmom wasn't answering the phone or Gannon was always doing something where he couldn't talk to the stepdad. She was hindering that line of communication, and he became concerned. And then there's also the issue that he wasn't in school on Monday, and we talked about how schools will text the parent or email the parent, your child's not in school today. Things like that. So he might have been aware that his child wasn't in school.
Hold on one second. I have to address
Sure.
just a small issue with a child and a dog. Something about a hole being dug. Hold on.
Okay, let's see. Dee Dee Munster. I hope other videos come out from neighbors. I hope so too. I noticed when we were watching T's truck video, there were other cars driving by and looking at that neighborhood plan. I don't believe it's a through street. I believe that if you live in that neighborhood, the only reason, if you're driving in that neighborhood, the only reason would be because you live there. I wonder who has dash cams who saw something that maybe they didn't think they were looking at anything in particular, but now in hindsight, they could provide something that the video didn't cover. Michelle Barrow says, doctor appointment, though the dad knew he had an appointment, right? Not sure if the dad knew he had an appointment because, listen, it's never confirmed that Gannon went to the doctor. First, she said that he was sick and she was going to take him to the doctor, and then the story changed that she simply called the doctor and they called in a prescription. Mark says, if he was sick, why did she let him go play at a friend's house? You know, a lot of people have said that when your child is sick and they stay home from school, then they stay in the house. And when that child left the house, it was 4:30 in the afternoon. It was starting, 5:45 is when the sun goes down. Dad says their light was you came home, or their rule was that you came home when the street lights came on. So not only was he sick, but it was getting dark and it was very cold. Caleb says, conflict and uncertainty causes people to tune in, which increases ratings, and ratings dictate the price the media charges for advertising, which means profits. 100%. I agree with that. That's why I said I always take it into consideration, because it is a business. They do have a bottom line, and they have to make quick decisions and balance between what's ethical and what's profitable. Cat 101 says, makes me wonder if dad had reservations about stepmom had been acting with bio kids. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? That maybe it was already on a downward slope or something like that. Let's see. Doodlebook says that was the rule here. No school, no leaving the house unless it's the doctor. Yeah, that was kind of the rule in my house growing up too. And if we were sick on a Friday, we didn't go out on the weekends. Yeah, Michelle says they were in by dinner, which is 4:30. Don J. Okay, let's see. Yeah. Sunset was 5:30 there. T's text said he had to be home by 6. Yeah, Dad said streetlights, so yeah.
Okay, I'm back. My huskies are misbehaving. Sorry for the distraction in the background.
Are they gonna give a shout out tonight?
They might, you guys. My 3-year-old husky is still very much a puppy, and it appears from the picture my son just sent me, he went outside to take a picture of it, that there's a very large hole dug in my backyard.
Oh, Michelle Barrow, isn't that funny? People say, I knew at all times where my kids were, and that was before cell phones. And, my 9-year-old stepson wears a GPS bracelet. So we always know where he is. Yeah.
So Caleb is saying, I gotta find, because I can see your comment on my phone. I gotta go up and read this and find it. Sorry.
Oh, don't be sorry.
I'm gonna start doing my lives a little later when there's a little less distraction.
There's pros and cons, right? When
There
everybody's
is.
still awake, it's like,
there is.
Don't carry anything breakable.
Well, it's like nobody at my house is so quiet most of the time, you guys. And there's 2 things that bring this house to life. That would be me getting on the phone or me getting on YouTube. Even the dogs misbehave. I get on. They literally lay around usually, and are quiet, but I don't know. Okay, so Caleb said conflict and uncertainty causes people to tune in, which increases ratings, and ratings dictate the price that the media charges for advertising, which means profits. Absolutely, that's true.
See?
But wouldn't the media be directly involved then in Tisha being painted in a false light if they altered that video?
I yes. Yeah. I
That
can't
just seems like a huge
yeah.
risk to me, a
So I
huge risk.
yes. I agree with everything that Caleb said.
Oh, I do too.
What I can't wrap my head around would be the media altering the video. So I don't know what the chain of custody for that video is. I mean, did the neighbor give it directly to the media? Or because law enforcement didn't give it to media. So did the neighbor edit it? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because I can't like I have a real problem with the media editing it. I do. That's a huge ethical problem.
Absolutely, that's a huge ethical
Huge.
problem because
Yeah.
it's got people all over the country who were already hyper focused on Tisha because of her interview.
Right. If she didn't have death threats before, I'm certain she has them now. What I saw
Right.
online today during that live broadcast was a lynch mob.
Against her.
Yes.
I didn't actually watch the live.
Oh, I
I
took
I
I took
uploaded it
like
and watched it
yeah.
afterwards, but I didn't watch it when it was live.
I took like I don't know what I thought I was going to do with them. I was playing, Veronica Mars. I was, screenshotting it. I have like 32 screenshots of throw her in the electric chair now. Don't ask questions. She's a murderer. Lying this. And I thought, oh my gosh, like, I mean, my mind is going in a certain direction, but these are local people.
Right. Right. They are very, very
They are in love with Gannon. They're supporting Gannon. They want Gannon back, and they don't like her because they feel like she is hindering this investigation with a lie. Now, maybe we just said this, maybe there's more to it that we don't know, and they're trying to smoke out a second person or smoke out some other, evidence or what have you. But yeah. Kristen says, if we all knew that video was altered and law enforcement said, let's get this woman, don't say a word, we would all let that video out and be in on it.
doesn't the media have some sort of ethical obligation?
They do to a certain extent. If they believe at the time what they are reporting is credible and vetted, yes.
Pixie Mermaid has a valid point. The FBI would absolutely be able to tell if it was edited, if the neighbor or media edited it to paint Tisha in a bad light or frame her. No, not probable. And I said this earlier. I wholeheartedly believe with the FBI being involved, if they didn't want that video out there, it wouldn't have got out there.
Right. It would have been stopped.
Yes, it would have been stopped. Absolutely.
Amy Ashley says also multiple different reporters got the video from him, so they'd all have to be in on it. That's a really good point. Unless he gave it to more.
That's
Yeah, I mean,
true.
yeah, if the media, okay, so if the media edited it and all the news sources have it, they all would have either one media source would have had to give it to everybody else edited, or they all edited the exact same way. And what is the probability of that? Zero, in my
Right.
opinion.
Right. Absolutely. I don't
Maybe they
I don't know.
go ahead.
I do believe that the video being released is absolutely a tactic. I believe that. I don't know what that's for, and I could be wrong. I'm speculating. I'm not behind the scenes in this case. But I think that the reasoning for it was to put pressure on her.
Yes. I
mean, his own mother, Gannon's own mother said, T, go find G. And that speaks volumes, you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And mom verbally in her Landon has not attacked Tisha verbally.
Right.
You know, but she's probably, I mean, come on. Tisha was the last person to see that we know to see Landon alive. Doodlebug, every time you type, what is it? It's going fast. I just saw it about the sister wanting to bring Bubby home. Oh my gosh. Especially when the little sister says it on that YouTube video. Oh. Lisa, I don't know how to say her last name. Boulier. I'll just say Lisa B. She says they had to release something. It would have been leaked. I agree with that too. When there's something like that, it comes out somewhere. But wait, I'm going to backtrack. Sorry. My brain went too fast. I think if the FBI wanted to shut it down, like Danielle said, I agree with her, they would have found a way to shut it down. Cat 101 says, I personally think it was a tactic because there is a male also involved. Speculation on my part. Possibly. You guys are all loving each other in the chat. It's nice to see. Jay Carve. They have to pressure her because she seems like a lying mule stuck in her lies. Well, they're using pressure as the tactic in one way or another. Mark, I'm so glad you said this because this goes on over and over in my mind, no matter what I think and where the evidence, or not evidence, but what we know points to. Mark says, what would be the motive for killing an 11-year-old if it was done by an adult in that house? I can't see a motive. Mark, do you have an answer? Do you have a theory? Because I would love to hear it. The only thing I can think of in my mind is spite for the mother or spite for the father. I can't think of any other reason. I have heard that people say that Gavin looks a lot like Landon and has a lot of Landon's mannerisms. I also, it's common knowledge that Gannon, like a lot of children, wanted his mommy and daddy back together. And I am sure that was hard for Tisha to hear over and over. So you guys have some answers. Let's see. Michelle Barrow says pure hate. Jamie says to get back at Bio Mom and Dad. Tammy says, it's been said maybe T is covering for an accident by the daughter. That is a possibility that I've thought of too, Tammy. Mark says, right, it would be spite. That's the only thing I can come up with. Thursday's child. Or Gannon saw or heard something which T didn't want to come out. Oh my gosh, Thursday's child. I thought that too, and I hadn't. Sometimes when I'm here, even though I have notes, I forget to say things. We were discussing that privately today. That maybe Gannon, there's something that would destroy Tisha if Gannon said it and she had to get rid of him. I don't know. Kathy says, it has really bothered me that the neighbor went public to press immediately after police told him not to. That's bothered me too, because we were calling him the real hero, and then the tape was released. And that's why we started speculating that maybe that was a strategic release. Kat says, I don't have children, but I teach kindergarten. I can't even imagine if one of my kiddos went missing. I would do anything to find them. Good vibes all. Yeah, well, you're a good person, Cat 101. Most of us would too.
I didn't realize my mic was muted. Um,
You're like, Amy, can you please shut up?
no, I'm like, I was talking and I'm like,
I figured that's what it was.
I'm a little flustered tonight, this
That's
evening,
okay.
guys. I wanted to address this. Will, what do you believe puts the authenticity of the video into question? And then Will also said the media put that burden on the neighbor. I agree. I do agree with that. I think the media approached the neighbor. I don't understand why the neighbor would release it though.
Right. And they sought the neighbor out at his job.
Right.
Do you remember that? The media guy said, he was working at Home Depot, so we went down to the Home Depot.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
they
yeah.
actively pursued him, which is weird for them to tell that story too. If we're thinking this was a tactical release, isn't it kind of odd that the reporter would be like, "So we drove down to the Home Depot." It was a little
I mean,
strange.
reporters can be ruthless. That's why I would never make it in that industry because I just could
Because
not. I
you're
could
way
not
too
track.
ethical.
Yeah, I could not just go hunt people down.
Mm-mm.
Even running Facebook groups, I don't like I it's very, very seldom that I will message people directly involved in a case because I feel like I'm overstepping my boundaries.
Right. Kristen says, I think she may have given him something and it harmed him and she freaked. Was going to take him to the doctor and he turned worse and she freaked. Doctor appointment made and then called in instead. That's been talked about too, you know.
You're right, Will. Law enforcement has claimed zero backing of that video, not just the release of it, the entire existence of it. However, I think they said that after it was released and they didn't want to give a comment on it. And when the news about it came out, they didn't want to give a comment on it. But they did say it was the piece to the puzzle that they needed.
Mm-hmm.
That is quoted in a media article.
Yes.
So it gets very, very confusing.
Cat 101, she says, I wonder if the neighbor was tricked by the way the media explained that they wanted the video. The neighbor is probably under a lot of stress as well. That entire community is under a lot of stress. And, nobody, that neighbor, I'm not going to say he was nobody, but he was just, average Joe citizen, probably 30 seconds before he realized he had that video in his hand. And we don't know how, I don't know how I would handle that. I'm not going to say we, because I can't speak for you all. I don't know how I'd handle all those people coming at me.
I know how I would handle them because I have people come at me all the time on social media.
That's true.
I mean,
But
my ability to ignore
Mhm.
has significantly grown in the past couple years. So, I know how I would handle it, but
I would do what law enforcement told me to do. But
yeah, that's where I struggle is because this neighbor is military. This
Mhm.
neighbor is military, and that's why I keep coming back to, okay, was this a tactic? Because,
Right.
military has respect for law enforcement.
And,
And
and an honor code. So
right,
they're not only going to be judged by the police, they will be held to judgment by the military.
right, right. So that's why I have a hard time understanding why the neighbor who is active military, I mean, he had his uniform on.
Yeah, he had his little jump shirt on.
Right, right. And why he would risk that code of ethics that exists there, you know? It's confusing to me. I'd like to understand that. I'd like to have some answers about that.
Yeah. Dawn says she's told her hubby that last night, and then Kristen says, I think the video was at night and they lightened it to look like daytime. When you know what? Go ahead.
I agree, glowing number. The video shouldn't have gone to the media in the first place, only to police. But in the same respect, the neighbor did give that video to police.
Yes.
So why did the police not seize all of that from the neighbor?
Yeah,
They have the ability to do that. The FBI
Yes.
has the ability to do that.
Yes.
Just put it right there, Noe. It's fine.
Demita says, but didn't they have the tape way before it was released? That is something that I can't answer. I've heard that. And again, that might lend to it being a strategic release or a tactical release. I don't know how to say that, but
Amy, Ashley, the problem is that yes, the video was technically his, but it also became evidence in the case of Gannon missing. Evidence is seized. Evidence is taken, it's held.
like the car. The car
Right,
belongs to you, but the police can come and seize it and impound it.
right. Kristen, I did hear that. I heard that the video I did hear that. I heard that the video was given to
did
Albert
too.
very early on, and that's when he kicked out Tisha, and then they since waited a week to release all this information about the video.
Cat 101, that's kind of what I was saying. The media guy that put the video out made a statement almost bragging how he got the video and it was the neighbor's work. Right away, at the neighbor's work, right away, I got the feeling that the neighbor was told it was okay to release. I struggled with that too. And I even said that to Danielle privately. I was like, okay, he was the hero that released the tape, but now he's just handing it out. Like, what's going on?
Right.
What's going on with that?
Right.
There's something weird here.
Yeah.
Kristen says, guys, listen, Al had that video on day 2. Yes.
Yeah, I've heard that repeatedly.
Me too.
I've heard that repeatedly. Good night, Nikki. Thank you for joining us.
Night, Nikki.
Glowing Ember, that's what they're claiming, that it was the neighbor that gave it directly to the media. And I think that's what one of the major questions is why?
Hi,
Why?
Shannon. SAE Gen X.
Oh, hey, Shannon.
Lisa B says, it has to fit. It was said the video was given to police the next day. He was told not to show anyone. It fits with Al seeing it, kicking Tisha out, and then police released it to the public. Plausible.
The one statement I do have a problem with by the neighbor, and maybe he can see it better viewing it on his TV versus us viewing a video of it on his TV because the quality made it
So, kind of like a copy of a copy.
Right. The quality wasn't as great as the quality that he would have seen. But the neighbor made a statement that Gannon looked sluggish and drugged getting into the vehicle.
Yeah. I want to know.
I miss you too, Shannon. I
Based
agree,
on what?
Kristen. I do believe he would have been taken into custody for releasing that publicly if he was told not to. And if law enforcement did not want that released, they could have put some kind of seal on it or some kind of judgment against him. Like, hey, you are prohibited from releasing this.
Well, they do gag orders.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And if you violate, you're in contempt of court and you go to jail. So, Texas Diamond said, I'm worried about that statement too. So sad. Yeah, I just don't know what the basis of that statement was.
Neither do I, and I don't understand how he would be able to, and I'm not discrediting the neighbor at all. I'm not, because I didn't see what he saw. I didn't see it on.
And we don't live next door to Gannon.
Right,
So.
right. We didn't see what he saw on his large TV screen when he looked at the surveillance footage. What conspiracy theories are we taking, Will? That what I repeated, I don't know if you're talking about Gannon being drugged and sluggish. It's not that's a direct quote from the media.
The neighbor said that.
Yeah, I can actually pull it. I'll pull it up. I don't know.
Annette says the police did, the police did after this go to the neighbors and ask them not to talk to the media about any footage. The sheriffs might have more angles, more times, a lot more. Very possible. Even on that tape when she is backing into I won't even say she, when the red truck is backing in and out of the driveway and there's people getting in and out of the truck, the video in question right now, there are other cars driving by and parking in their driveways. So if they had ring cams, that picks up motion too. So yes. Barf out like totally. The news reporter never needs permission to release the video. No, but they could be stopped from releasing it
absolutely.
if it came to that. Has anyone thought that Gannon could have been asleep in the back of the car and then later got out of the truck and we haven't seen that part? We haven't seen the end of that video. So, I mean, anything's possible, but
that's fair.
That's fair.
Hold on. I'm going to dig for this photo.
So, I'm going to say this about the media there, because it is more likely in a case like this, that a national news outlet would release a tape rather than the local media. And here's why. Because if the local media does it, they ruin their relationship with law enforcement. And it's on them.
What?
And that's a, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
I just want to. Julie, what are you talking about? You wish I would look at the night photo that I have. Did you send it to my email?
Mark, there was screaming coming from the house the other night, caught on camera. Yeah. Our understanding is that the garage door was left open. They're at the family house, the house where Gannon lived. The garage door was left open. Somebody was walking through the garage, or the police went to go shut the garage and had flashlights, and it startled the family. They're all on edge. And so when all that started happening, they had an emotional reaction.
Right.
But yeah, when that video came out, it was a little startling. The reporter's just talking, and then all of a sudden, there's
Aw, do you like being a troll? Shoot the moon. That's cute. Um, Mark, the screaming that was coming from the house the other night, I don't know if you clarified this already, Amy. I kind of zoned out for a second. That was because law enforcement was just doing a welfare check on the house. They saw that the overhead garage door was open. They walked up into the garage and they spooked the homeowners.
yes.
Albert didn't, he had people walking in his garage and it scared him. That's what the yelling was. That was actually clarified by El Paso County sheriffs.
Julie says she came across a photo that has since been deleted publicly. She saved it. She doesn't have your email address to send it. Is it Real Massacre Talk Live?
Yeah, I'll drop it right here.
Yeah.
If you send it right now, I can pull it up and share it with everybody. You don't think they can restrict that with a gag order on the neighbor? Because I think that they can. That's physical evidence that belongs to the investigation.
Lufa says, don't you guys think that if there was incriminating stuff on the video, they would have arrested her by now?
Kat, you're welcome to join our Facebook group. We don't deal with that kind of stuff. I catch flack for it, and that's okay, but that's just not how we operate. I'll drop the link in the comments. Sorry, I cut you off again. I've been terrible about that.
You're not terrible. It's just how life goes. I think we were saying, if there was incriminating stuff, Lufa wanted to know if there was incriminating stuff on the video, wouldn't they have arrested her by now? I mean, arrested her for what? That's the thing. And I think that once, and I'm not speaking specifically about Tisha. If they're going to arrest anybody, they're going to arrest them on something that they can really hold them on. And I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted by something else that's going on. But they're gonna pick charges that stick, and they don't want to look like they're harassing anybody or what have you.
Yeah, let's keep the chat focused on the case if we can, guys, okay? We don't. Absolutely, Thursday, child. Let's keep our focus on Gannon.
Yes. Oh, Christy, just hang in there with us. Let's everybody work together to.
Yeah, Christy. Let's just fill that chat with blue hearts. Let's not have any negativity in the chat.
That is a good idea.
Every moderator who is helping me down in the chat is well aware that I don't deal with negativity and I don't allow it. So I know that we're all going to work together and we're going to turn the chat around and do what's right here. I have faith in that. Oh, you guys are great.
Jeanette says, this channel relaxes me, whereas others stress me at the chastising. So I appreciate this whole team. Well, we appreciate all of you.
Thank you, Danette. Thank
It's
you.
a nice compliment.
I've had people tell me, because, Tisha and I started Real Massacre Talk together, and she's around. She's just busy and working and has a lot going on in her personal life. And we've built this amazing team with Real Massacre Talk. But I used to have people tell me when we had all of our podcasts out that they would listen at night for the soothing voices because we were calm. So.
Aww.
Oh no, another snowstorm coming in Colorado.
Yes, I saw that.
Shannon, I saw that it warmed up today. I saw that it warmed up today to like 40, and last night it was like 14. Is it going to get cold again there tonight?
Mark, that really hit home for me too. Mark says, the mother said in an interview, don't be scared to tell us where he is. Just think about how scared he is. Seemed like an attack and aggressive, weird. Okay, so I didn't take it that way. I think she was just trying to appeal to anybody to have empathy for Gannon. Like if you know something and you're scared, like we get that, but think about how scared Gannon must be right now.
Right. Right. Oh wow. It's going to be cold again. Yeah, let's keep the conversation about Gannon. I don't want to have to close down the live, guys, please.
Yeah.
Because I just can't.
Maggie B says, I liked how Landon said, if you can't call, have someone do it for you. That was smart. That was very smart. Landon has a natural, organic approach to appealing to the public. And she has stayed so strong.
You can feel Landon's heartache.
You can.
You can.
Yes.
Texas Diamond, yes, Gannon has a phone. Not with him. It is at his home. I'm guessing his dad's house. That's where the phone was at.
Oh. Okay, I haven't said anything up to this point, but just if you hear something you don't like, let's pretend like we're at work or church or something like that. We just ignore it, okay? Please. Rise above.
Yeah. Okay, Julie, let me check my email.
Jenny Anderson, you're so sweet. Sending prayers and much love to Gannon and his family. Yes. Don Break, that is why they keep putting her in the public eye. I believe that. I believe that. Doodle, you're killing me. Oh, it just makes me sick. Jason says, I felt as if she was aiming that at the stepmother, but I also felt like there was something deeper there, kind of like she was using this to attack Tisha. Who knows what her motives are? I mean, she definitely, there's still the social media post up on the screen where she says she did this to me after my divorce and came to my school district to do this, to blame me for what? And then she says, T, go find G. Mark, I think that is very probable that she may know that someone made a terrible mistake and is asking him to let go of fear and be honest. Yeah.
Julia, I got your message, but I can't. Oh, I think.
Thursday. If you can't go high, go higher. I love it. Olivia, we're all praying that there's some, I'm not, I mean, I do pray that there's some sort of break soon, but in reality, I pray that they just find Gannon.
Right.
I don't even care about, I mean, I know we're speculating because that's all we can do right now, other than hope and pray for him. But right now, I don't really care who did what to who and who said this about someone else. I just want Gannon brought home. Jason Desper says, I should be clear. Any mother would be livid in this situation, but there was something different about how she said her comments. There is something about Landon.
Right.
Landon has some powerful words when she speaks, and yes.
Julia, can you send that email one more time? I'm sorry, it won't load.
Let's see. Oh, Jeannie, that's so nice. Amy Ashley says, I'm wondering why they would make that appeal again just days later, only adding the little sister. Maybe it was directed towards Harley, pulling at her heartstrings or someone else's. I think they're pulling at anybody that might know anything. That's all you can do, right?
Aw, thank you, BJ.
CWT, CRZY, CWT crazy. Maybe that's the teacher in her. Yes. And the mother in her. Yes. Landon does wear her heart on her sleeve. Yes.
Yeah. I think despite any difference of opinions or difference of theories and speculation and all of the above, we all want the same thing, and we all want Gannon to be brought home safely.
Yes.
So we all have that in common. And I know that everybody truly, truly means that.
Doodlebug says you could do ASMR.
Oh my gosh. That
Hey, Danielle, whisper to me.
which podcast was that I was looking for a video on a case the other night, Amy, and I was like, oh, I found a video about this, and I was like, wait a second, they're
Her name is
whispering.
something whispers, and she whispers to true crime. Here, I'll give you some crumbling plastic. But do anything for any of you? Lily Whispers. Isn't that what it was called? Lily Whispers? She whispers about true crime.
Yes. Aw, Mignon you're gonna wear blue eyeshadow for him today.
Oh.
That's very sweet.
BJ said she broke down for Landon when she got so excited. I think it was just her emotions. I can't even. I don't even. I'm gonna say I can't even imagine, but I don't even want to imagine being in that position.
Yeah, me either. I agree. As mothers and as parents, we do definitely feel her heartache and her pain because she definitely displays her pain. You can see it. It's there and it's raw and it's real and it's hard to grasp. It's hard to try to understand what she's feeling because I don't ever want to feel what she's feeling.
No.
I
don't even want to try to. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I know I know the worry and the fear that I've felt when my kids have gotten hurt or they've had to have surgery. Um, I cannot imagine not knowing where my child is.
No. Mm-mm. No.
Yeah, I do believe she's being genuine as well. Well, I don't think it's dramatics though. I think it's genuine mother's love. That's what I see. I totally just see. It reminds me of my mom and how protective she's been of me, like the mama bear. You see the mama bear come out of her. So I don't really think that's dramatics. I think that's just the absolute pure love that a mother has for her child that we see coming out.
Well, that's one of the closest human relationships you can, if not the closest that you can ever have, is
Right.
a mother and your child. Yes.
Aw, Demita, me too. I wish we all had those superpowers. I wish that we could bring him home and end this nightmare for everybody. Um,
Shannon, I know you would.
me too, Shannon. Me too.
Yes, Jenny, that is pure passion and love right there. That is all organic.
Right. Maggie, I can't imagine how Al must feel. Especially because not that he's to blame, because I don't think anybody would ever think that their spouse would be involved or that their child would go missing while they're out of town. You know, you and I'm not placing blame here. I'm just saying I can't imagine how he feels because he was out of town at training. His children were in the care of his wife, and one of them came up missing. So I can't imagine his feelings.
Well, and innately, men and fathers pride themselves in protecting their families.
Right,
So it's a lot of like intrinsic guilt.
right, right.
That's a burden for sure.
Aw, Thursday's child. I know the pain of the loss of a child and understand that Landon is trying to keep a hold of herself. And she is succeeding, at least in public. Behind closed doors is a different matter for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, Mignon says my daughter fell off the bed once. She was only 5 months old, hit her head on a stone mantelpiece. She was crying but totally fine, and I was a mess. I was cried on and off for hours. She must be broken. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. All you want to do is your job, your purpose in life is keeping them safe.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So
Going, yeah. Are you gonna wrap it up?
I am soon in just a few minutes. We're gonna wrap it up. I
Okay.
don't know how long I've been on. Probably in
Well,
15 minutes or so. So
Glowing Ember says, I totally understand Landon's expressing how frightened Gannon is. So if someone knows something, don't be afraid to tell. Yes. And that was such a motherly approach. Like I said, I mean, there's times in our house where, like, you know, they're good kids, but they're kids. Like, little things happen, and we know we're not hearing the whole truth. And so to build that trust, like a lifetime of trust between parent and child, we're constantly saying, it doesn't matter what happened. We still love you. We'll deal with it. We need the truth to deal with it.
right.
And she definitely took that approach with the public.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Um,
guys.
Yeah, it's gotcha, Will. Okay. I think we're gonna wrap it up. It's been an intense 2 hours and 45 minutes. Um, I know I will be back probably every night over the weekend. Every night until this little boy is brought home safe.
Yeah. Keep the family and Gannon in your thoughts if you pray. Yes.
Absolutely. If you don't pray,
Dante, you got fired? She says, heck, my son fired me because I knocked him down accidentally. You're fired. Oh. Good night, everybody. Good night, Jeannie.
yes, Dawn, I'm going to leave it up. It will upload in just a few minutes. It should be available for the replay. So I appreciate all of you being here so much. All of my mods, thank you. All of my
Yes.
subs, everybody who tuned in, all of your thoughts, your theories, your perspectives. No matter if we agree, we disagree, I think it's very, very important to keep this discussion going because you never know what might be said that might be like an aha moment, or,
Right.
and if you're local to Colorado, I know I'd like to personally thank everybody who's local, who is on the ground searching for him and looking
Yes.
for this little boy. I'm going to share a YouTube link. I'll probably put it in the community post. There's a gentleman who's local who has several drone videos of the searches that have been done. So, yeah, thank you for everybody who's here and was stayed all night and hung out. And I appreciate you all so much. And thank you for coming on panel, Amy, and talking with me.
Thank you for having me as always. As always.
Let's keep throwing up those blue hearts for Gannon for hope. And I will be talking to you guys probably tomorrow night. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Bye, Danielle.
Bye, Amy.